in-studio guest today is Kirstin Brug.
Yes.
Kirstin, tell us a little bit about yourself.
So I started playing guitar when I was a teenager, in all my angst, and then I played for friends. I played out a little bit, different places. At that time, I started playing open mics and things like that, and lo and behold, people still liked it.
Good. Today's topic, we're going to start talking about lyric writing, and we're going to have several shows on that. But today I just want to talk about some general principles of writing lyrics, even before, what you kind of have in your mind, consciously or unconsciously, before you put the first word or the first note on paper. What would you say about that?
It's funny because for me, my songs kind of all happen, well, most of them happened all at once. Like, where I'm just practicing the guitar, just playing something, and all of a sudden, like, I just start singing. And if I don't have my notebook right there and a pen and write it, it's like it all happens. I think I must grow 2 more arms. I'm not sure exactly. But yeah, it all kind of happens at once. The challenge for me is more to make sure that it all makes sense afterwards.
Gotcha.
So.
Okay. Some things that I thought of is, first of all, is to think of putting something down on the paper or in the computer, and don't worry too much about perfection, about editing. That'll come later. Because if you worry too much about, let me get it absolutely right the first time, you may not never put anything down.
Yes.
Another one is to, and again, since this is a show on performing songwriters as opposed to just songwriting, is to have your songs be, as I say, universal, or at least to mean something to more people than just yourself. If somebody's just writing for, you're writing a therapy song for yourself or your family, that's one thing. But in terms of if you're going to perform them in front of an audience. And I guess the final thing, what I was thinking about is, and here I am, I forgot it. I have a cheat list here. Let me look at what that is. I'm going to edit this a little bit. Yes, okay. Well, one thing is not to make a song too long.
Right.
There are some exceptions, like a story song. You might be talking about a certain person, like Abraham Lincoln, and it maybe needed to be more than 3 verses, 2 verses, whatever. I know what I wanted to say. It's okay, in terms of the principles, guidelines, I hate to use the word rules because there really aren't any rules per se. They're made to be broken at times, but you need to know what they are so you can make an intelligent decision when you want to go outside the normal, what people say you would be concerned about with lyrics.
Right. I think one of those rules tends to be people like to write in terms of, they like to think of what's the hook going to be. And for me, that question comes more as, how is the hook going to be subtle enough that it's not going to bother me? I tend to be one, I don't like to be just right out in the open about things. That, there has to be a little finesse in there for me. And so for me, kind of making something so that it's almost the same, but not quite, is almost a hook to me in and of itself. Certainly there are, a lot of times I'll try to cover another song just to kind of get that, that feeling of what this person was thinking as they were writing the song, and how that happened for them. Of course, I'll never really know. And by the time I finish covering it, it sounds completely different. But yeah, it's probably one of those rules.
Okay, Kirstin, I'm going to ask you to do a song. If you want to relate it, if you can relate it to something we just said, but you don't need to.
Yep.
And you're up.
Okay, this is one of those songs that has a hook but doesn't really have a hook. Or maybe you can decide that for yourself. But it's called Keep in Time, and it's pretty much what we all do, I think. There are the anticipating with each error amidst each lie. And I feel your weight sink into this hollow bone beneath my hand. Another go around this merry child's castle in the sand. Let it all go out with the tide into a pirate ship's demise. You're holding on to this thin air, keeping You got 20 seconds till the ball drops out beneath your feet. And as each minute ticks, you pick it up, throw it out into the street. You're rating every answer's question, a betting miracles reply. Keep it up, let it flow, let it all go out with the tide into a pirate ship's demise. They're holding on to this thin air, keeping time, keeping time. You listen louder in the silence, captive audience ensnared. Without another moment's auction, your voice has been repaired. There's no more fumble with these lyrics, no more reason to forget. All this time was only borrowed from what hasn't happened yet. When you let it go, let it all flow out with the tide into a pirate ship's demise. You're holding on to this thin air, keeping time, keeping time.
Nice. It has a little bit of a hook.
It does have a hook,
Yeah.
but it's not the same every time.
Yeah. Now, was that easy for you to write?
Was it easy for me to write? Well, with that one, I started with, and this is kind of the pattern that I find myself writing the full song in. I tend to get the first verse, and I get the second verse.
Mm-hmm.
And then I have to play it for a little while. And then the third verse comes, or whatever. But that's, but that does often happen, where I get the first part of it, and then I just have to finish it out.
Later.
And so that last part tends to take inspiration off of the first half.
Gotcha. Okay, so let's see. I'm glad we got this.
Yes.
This song, I guess, what it maybe relate to one thing that I had said earlier. It's kind of like a country song, and I actually came up with the hook or the chord, the hook, I guess, first, and then I wrote it from there. And and the title, I should say, and the title is I'd be good if I didn't know lonely. And while it's about two people, and it's a made-up story, it's just a story, but I think it's universal that people can relate to it when they break up and the emotional feelings that they might get. He walked by a cafe, they used to talk. Walked in a park, they used to walk. Saw all the lovers like they used to be. Sat on a bench and thought, what's happened to me? His head's in his hands, his mind just won't stop. Thinking what was, now what's not. He's run out of answers, there's no will to fight. An old man sits down and says, how you doing tonight? And he says, I'd be good if I didn't know lonely. Be fine if I didn't know blue. I can see her quite clear when I look through my tears. I'd be good if I didn't know lonely. Now he walks across the bridge, he makes the devil a dare. If I jumped in, would anyone care? 1 foot on the railing, he's ready to fly. Then a hand on his shoulder, and a stranger asks why. He says, I'd be good if I didn't know lonely. I'd be fine if I didn't know blue. I can see her quite clear when I look through my tears. If I didn't know lonely. And he remembers her kisses, he remembers her smile, and he remembers their dreams to walk down the aisle. Now the sun's coming up, it hangs on to the sky. He walks through his memories as he walks one more mile. Now in spite of himself, he makes it back home. Falls on the couch, he picks up the phone. Dials her number, she answers hello. He says, how you feeling? 'Cause I just need to know. She says, I'd be good if I didn't know lonely. I'd be fine if I didn't know blue. I can see you quite clear when I look through my tears. I'd be good if I didn't know lonely. They'd be good if they didn't know lonely. Anyway, so now we have our Skype interview, as we're going to do every week, hopefully. And our guest today is Annie Wenz, who is from Florida, although she's up in Maine. That's where I talked to her sometime earlier. Here we go. Well, I'd like to welcome my Skype guest tonight, Annie Wenz. Annie, how you doing?
I'm great. I'm great, Ray.
I haven't seen you in a little bit.
I know. I was trying to think of how long it's been, but I know we met about 20 years ago.
I remember where? Remember where? In that little coffee house in Manio.
I thought it was the PMC, the Philly Music Conference.
We did, but it was we met actually in a coffee house where we were listening to some of the music as part of that conference.
But that Yeah, right. Oh my God, that was forever ago.
Why don't you just briefly say a little bit about your music, how long you've been playing, songwriting, that type of stuff?
Well, God, I started writing when I was a little kid. I mean, I remember writing a song when I was 5 about a turtle on the 4th of July. And I read poetry and I wrote. I had notebooks. I still have some of my early notebooks, but I always wrote. I had a piano in the house I took like a year and a half of lessons when I was 5, and then family couldn't afford to continue, so I just noodled on my own. And then when I was 12, I swiped the guitar my brother was not playing and started learning chords, and I think actually started serious songwriting I think when I was 18, and I had been doing a vocalese, kind of a 2-person jazzy thing with my friend from nursing school, my friend Danny Robles, who's an amazing musician, and he said, I went out to LA to try and get some gigs and work with him, and he said, we need to write our own. And so Danny was really responsible for me writing, and I've done it ever since. Was involved with the New England Songwriters Association and then the Folk Alliance, and my whole life since then has been writing.
Okay. This show that we do is on the craft of songwriting as well as performing original songs and how to get those songs over. So I want to ask a question about the songwriting, and basically on this show we're talking about just sort of the basic principles that you might have, like before you write a song, what's in your mind consciously or unconsciously about how you want to proceed.
How do I go about it?
Yeah.
I teach songwriting a bunch. I have had the honor of teaching at the Song School in Lyons, Colorado for most of the last 18 years, I think, since they've had it. And it's just an amazing, amazing school of songwriting. And I tell my students that basically what I do, I keep a notebook with me all the time. And I get little seeds and ideas for songs. When something pops into my head, I write it down. I read a lot. I keep a page of phrases. I keep word combinations that I like, choruses, lines. I write them all down. But sometimes, especially when my right brain is more engaged, if I'm riding a bicycle, if I'm paddling a kayak, if I'm running, I do a lot of physical things. And at those times, song ideas come to me. Or sometimes listening to other music, listening to the radio, an idea comes, I turn the radio off, and into my little voice recorder on my phone, I'll put my idea down. If I have the time to work it through, I will. But more than not, I go back on a writer's date with myself, and I go through my notebooks and say, oh, what do I want to work on? And one of the things that I do a lot of story songs, and I basically go through a list where I go through my senses when I am wherever it is that I want to write this story about. If it's a story about someone else or myself, what did I see? What do I smell? What do I taste? What do I feel? What sense did I leave out? Hearing, sight, smell. What did I say? What did I taste? And I write all of those down. One of the songs that I'll do is I'll do my baseball song. And I actually went to baseball field after baseball field and went through my senses and made a list. So I do a lot of lists. And the other thing that I tell people I do, and I have students do that's incredibly successful, is I find that when we try and tell a story, sometimes we edit out the really, really juicy bits. And I talk sometimes with a lot of very odd details. I make up my own words. I can be very colorful in my storytelling, and people say, wow, did you write that down? Did you make that into a song or a story? And I realize that sometimes when we start writing a song, we get all flowery and we start pontificating instead of saying, the hair stood up on my arms and the sweat was running down my back. you know, all of a sudden we start saying my soul and it made me whole instead of talking about all those details. So I write in my notebook the way I would be telling a really, really detailed story. And then I circle the phrases that I really like. And I try and be as dramatic and descriptive as possible. And then I incorporate a lot of that. I pull that into my songs.
Okay. Annie, we'd like to hear a song. What you got for us?
This is a song that was based on an experience I had many, many years ago when I graduated from college, from nursing school, and I worked in Harlan County, Kentucky. And I had a whole journal of life in Harlan. And I pulled from that and put this together. This mountain was real big before they stripped it down the side. Now Gracie Creek is run with coal and most of the fishy died. My kin lived in this holler. They killed folks before that. It smells like grass and coal dust, blue, green, and shades of black. Oh, that's life in Harlan. Grandpa worked the coal mine, cave-ins were young. Daddy, you don't work no more with coal dust in his lungs. Mama birthed 9 babies under Grandma's sturdy hands. We lost Jolene in '68, the winter of the damned. Oh, that's life in Harlan. And the train goes by, and I chase it down the tracks with my old black bucket, and I'm picking up the scraps. A few bits of coal add up, you know. Won't be no running water to the thaw. Sundays we go off to church with a shoebox held real tight. Devil's eyes are peeking out from holes poked in the side. Preacher speaks in fiery tongues, damnation, death, and life. The rattler bites, God will decide it's time for sacrifice. Oh, that's life in Harlan. You say around here I give up my gun when they pull it from my cold dead hands. My brother Bobby did just that, fighting over North Sands. They pulled a gun on Fred McCoy by the Western Auto Store. Both got shot, Bobby died. Don't think about it no more. Oh, that's life in Harlan. Ain't been outside this holler, don't care to decide, so you can keep your big old city and your fancy city life. You ask me, life is simple here, you're born, you laugh, you cry. Now, excuse me, I got beans to shut for supper tonight. Oh, that's life in Harlan. That's life in Harlan.
Annie, I wanted to ask you, in terms of performing, what do you do to engage the audience so that you don't, pretty much up front, so you don't really kind of lose them?
I always start my shows with Native American flute. It puts me in a good spot. It's different, and there's a lot of research about where to put your brain waves, and it's a fun thing to do. This is one of the flutes that I sometimes use. I have a really large low-tone drone one also, but I'll give you just a few seconds of it. So when I walk out, and I basically do this kind of thing. That's a very abbreviated version. But then I wear ankle shakers and I start grooving a little bit with that, and it brings people in. So that's one thing. And the other thing, one of the women who taught at the song school where I teach, she has passed away. Julie Portman is her name. And Julie talked about when you are performing, come from your heart. Don't come from your head and don't come from anywhere else. Just come from your heart. And you're there, hopefully, because you want to connect with people. And if you come from the place of all of us being together and this being a joint experience rather than it all being about me putting on a show because I'm the queen. It's different. It really it gives a whole different vibe, and I notice that when I just forget about myself and think about how I want this to be something between me and the audience, it matters.
Well, I think it's time for another song.
Okay, well, I'm gonna quickly retune my guitar, and I'll tell you as I retune what the scoop is about this song. I'm going into an open D tuning, and I grew up in a baseball household in New York. We'd go to Yankee Stadium, we'd go to Shea Stadium, and as an adult, I've continued to really love baseball, and I decided I need to write a baseball song. So I would sit in the stadium and just I literally went through every sense, everything I saw, everything I smelled, everything I tasted, and then I went online and looked up baseball metaphors that have made their way into our lives. You know, we'd say, step up, that person didn't step up to the plate. And I put it all together. And as you notice, Life in Harlem in this song, fairly simple choruses, so people can sing along. And there's a little kind of rap part where it took me forever just putting that all together. But I spent a lot of time on every single song. Nothing is wasted real estate. Ready? Oh, and I'm proud to say the New York Mets use this song at City Park. Oh, leather gloves, slapping hands, popcorn peanuts, we're working the stands, pink cotton candy, love on a stick, just chasing the beer, the circle the lips, play ball, play ball. Make the faces and smacking right over the wall, play ball, play ball. Take off the caps, time for a song. Red, white, and blue, we all sing along. Now he's on the mound, just feeling the scenes, staring him down, looking real mean, play ball. Play ball. Loading the faces and smacking right over the wall. Play ball, play ball. Fogging the lights, sweating the clay. An old guy was saying when I used to play Cracker Jack fries, New Jersey mud. Never when we paid $1 for a bud. Flipping them over, making the call. Cover the bases, spitting the ball. Right up the bat, walking the slide. Bumping the skill on the sideline ride. Pitch it knuckleball, doing the wave. Stand up and dance to YMCA. Organ is wailing, we're pounding our feet. Touching the sky, out to seats, play ball. Play ball. The faces and smacking right over the wall. Play ball, play ball. Bottom of 9, Holmes got the licks. Faces are loaded. We're watching them twitch. They'll wind up the pitch. And one for the fans. It's out of the park. Walk up, friends, slam, play ball. Play ball. Load the faces and smack it out over the wall. Play ball, play ball. Take me out to the crowd and take me out to the ball game. Take me out to the crowd and take me out to the ball game. Take me out to the crowd.
Annie, I wanted you to let us know how people could learn about you and maybe even contact you if you like, and how might we do that?
Well, I have a website. It's www.anniewenz, ANNIEWENZ.com. And you may be able to find me. Yeah, you can find me on Facebook. I have an Annie Wenz musician site, which is Annie Wenz, maybe Annie Wenz Music. And you can come to my shows. You can find my recordings. I have several song CDs and 2 instrumental CDs with the flutes. I think that's it, right?
That's great. Annie, thank you very much for being our Skype guest tonight.
Oh, thank you, Ray. We go back 20 years
time.
or something to music world, and so it's always a pleasure. And I love your music too, so it's nice to get to see your face and spend time. And I'm so grateful to you for doing this.
Okay, we will see you soon, hopefully.
Thanks, Ray.
So that was Annie Wenz, and she's a really good songwriter. And we're back with my guest, Kirstin
Brug.
I get your name.
Brug.
So the Irish name. Are you Irish?
Scottish.
Scottish. Well, that's close. You're right. That is a Scottish name.
Yeah, Kirstin is.
Performing. This is the other half of what we talk about in this program. Mm-hmm. And today, the topic is one of the things I said last time is I do some magic, and a guy that one of his books that I have said you really have to make rapport or contact with the audience within the first 30 seconds, or you might lose them the whole time. So my question is, how do you hook the audience in when you get on stage?
I tend to I just talk a little bit. I don't know. You had asked me that. You mentioned that in the email that you sent before this. And it's funny because each show is different. But I find that my favorites are the ones that are a little bit more intimate. Mm-hmm. Where sometimes I'll go around and just kind of like talk to people and just kind of get to know where they're at, mm-hmm. as in terms of what's going to affect them, because where I'm at might not have anything to do with them. And so as my, as the song is my gift to them, I need to know like what do they like. So whether it's just kind of talking to them beforehand and then just kind of going up and then playing, so, that works. But usually for the first song, I'll either play something that everybody knows, like I'll play a cover, which mm-hmm. is pretty easy. Or I'll play something where my voice is just loud.
To wake them up.
Right. It's, hello, I'm here. And that usually works. But I tend to make a lot of eye contact when I perform in general, because I do like that intimacy.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Cool. So some of the things I thought of is kind of what you just said, and some way to connect, to develop rapport in mm-hmm. a very quick way. And you mentioned the eye contact. And one thing, too, is when you want to be talking to the audience and not at the audience, or you don't want to just be talking in their direction. And one way to do that is pick some people out mm-hmm. and look at them. And because from the audience point of view, they know that you're talking to them. That's, gives them...
It's engaging.
Engaging with the audience. I have my cheat sheet here so I don't forget. Humor sometimes is a way to do it.
Yep.
Smiling. Mm-hmm. And I think a real important thing is to believe, and more than believe, but I have to use that term, that the most important people there are the audience mm-hmm. and not yourself. Yes.
And, something that I find interesting, too, I really enjoy sharing the song with people, wherein I might be up on stage and I mm-hmm. might be the person that's playing it, right. But I'm a slave to the song. You know what I mean? I want us both to experience that at the same time, and that's where we meet, where, and that's what it becomes more about. It's not about me. It's not about them. It's about all of us sharing.
Terry Revelle, who was the guest the first show, said it really well. He said that the audience becomes part of your performance. I think that was a great way to put it.
Yeah, completely.
So I'm going to ask you to do another song, and you got the stage.
Okay. So this is a breakup song, which it's the song is a little bit interesting. It's my music tends to have a lot of words. You were mentioning about lyrics, and I tend to have just a lot of them. This is one of those songs, but it's also an attention grabber. So it's called Pickin' Fights. Kitchen and my bad attitude, but I still can't get a word in to take my weary mind off of you. It's subtle but it's serious, that's what you'd have me say. With anchors down and breath restored, my boots sink into this clay. I am gathering the graces from your dying eyes. They talk of all the places where we've said all of our goodbyes. Absorbent and exhausted, this bitterness is weak. Still your lips keep moving, but they're vying not to speak. Ah, ah, ah. Oh, the silence scrapes the lining from our silver slate delay. There's a modicum of magic in the words you hear me say. So you wait with bated breath for every syllable I speak, and I just enjoy the fluency which carries me to sleep. Oh, I miss you, and it makes me sick to think I'd let you in after all the things you said to push me forth and back again. I am scared, scareder still is my emotional will. It's in the drawer beside my Bible, make a wish it will come true. Being careful kills this consciousness that's tearing us into too many careful days, followed by sleep lonely nights in the barroom as a brawler slurping whiskey, picking fights. Hey, who's picking fights? You sing it no, you didn't.
One lyric I really liked was something like, speaking with your lips but not say anything or something like that?
I don't know.
Something like that.
You're vying not to speak. Yeah. Yeah. So I that song was about. It could have been a very passive aggressive relationship. I'm not sure.
Mm-hmm.
We just we didn't say anything to each other, and then all of a sudden, like, we were done, and it was clear we were done. So, yeah.
So even though they had a lot of words, it didn't seem extra long or anything like that.
Mm-mm.
Yeah. Okay. This is a really short song. In fact, when I have a couple CDs and one-on-one, and the guy that produced it said, "That's really a short song," but it's kind of what I kind of get into it and out of it, and I said what I wanted to say and got out of it, and it's like what they call AAA. It's a three verses, no chorus, no bridge, and it's called "If You Want to Dance with Me." It's not about dancing; it's about loving. And I'm playing the wrong song. How about that?
I didn't know.
If you want to dance with me, you have to take a chance on me. You know there are no guarantees. If you want to dance with me, and if I want to dance with you, something that I have to prove, that I can be honest and true. If I want to dance with you. And if we want to dance together, there's bound to be some stormy weather. With a little faith in love, it always gets better. Then we can dance, then we can dance, then we can dance forever. Something like that. And so that wasn't too long of a song. We don't want to bore the audience.
No, that's typically not good.
Now, I don't know. Bob Dylan wrote a lot of songs, and I don't like them when they're that long, even though it's Bob Dylan.
Even though it's Bob Dylan.
Yeah, I know that's heresy. But anyway, where can people learn a little more about you and maybe even contact you?
As of right now, I don't have anything official up on the good old web. If you find me on Facebook, you can look me up there. It's I'll spell my name for you. It's Kirstin Brug.
Okay.
So Kirstin Brug, and it's my personal page, but I'm pretty open.
I'm going to ask you to do one last song and talk a little about it. And
so this song. This song it's about bridging the gap. It's about being there for somebody, but not knowing that you have something that you want to say to someone, but there never being the right time to say it, and so knowing that they have to come to you in order for you to say those things. So this is called Stitch. more tricks up my sleeve than you think that you can handle, but baby, I never pretended to leave. I just left you to tend your mantle, and I think I've got a few more fears left to pry off of my memories. That pain was thick in you let it seep into the tears that you cried out of my view. But I've got a stitch for your tear when you are ready. Yes, I've got a button for the hole that you wanted to sew, so I can see you standing there waving. Turn around, just wave goodbye. If I seem a little distant these days, that's because I'm bridging gaps for you, but wearing thin on all my self-righteous ways don't make sense if there's no see it through. So now you'll show me all the walls that you built, tear them down. Think I need something heavy in my hands to remind me of just how light I am. 'Cause beams made of light reflect within view of your smile. So baby, show it off, 'cause you've got a brilliance that could outshine the stars. They're all staring at me again, telling me that I've got a for your tear when you're ready. Yes, I've got a button for the hole that you wanted to sew. Oh, I can see you, you're standing there waving. Turn around, just wave goodbye.
Nice lyrics. You got nice lyrics.
Thank you.
Yeah. Kirstin, I want to thank you. Kirstin Brug, get your name there. And thank you for coming on.
Thank you very much.
And I also want to thank my Skype guest, Annie Wenz.